Hello and welcome, you beautiful people. UpTheDubsGuy here on the base, Creeper Farm. We have some progress reports. I know it's been a long time. I've been very busy, but it's back to work now. Do you remember Thor's hammer? Well, we've got an update on the fist of Thor grasping the handle from out of the depths of the ravine. We also have started a flying machine farm that is going to be based on the Irish Museum of Modern Art, which used to be the Royal Hospital Kilmainham in Dublin, Ireland. It's going to be a scale replica and it's just enormous. Our little farm is going to look tiny inside of it. Let's go have a look. There's the shape of the fist coming out. I really need to have slow falling or something, don't I? Those are the fingers wrapping around the side, and then in front we've got the fingers partly hidden by the thumb. It's just the shape of it now. I don't have the colored blocks in there with the right textures and so forth. And this wrist looks a bit skinny at the moment. I'm going to be making that a little bit thicker there. Meanwhile, look at this monstrosity here. It's just enormous. But we'll have a flying machine farm. I think it'll be over in this corner here. It will be pretty long. We want to have a whole bunch of things in there. Glowberries and twisting vines and weeping vines, pointed dripstone, regular vines, bamboo, all of the things that you can think of that will grow either up very far or down very far. Of course it's raining. Minecraft. Can we not have a lovely day? No, of course not. We're in Ireland. Lest we forget. Ireland is beautiful. I tell you, we've had the most wonderful summer I've seen in ages. But back to the rainy days. Thanks, Minecraft, for that reminder. Okay, here we are. We're gonna start our flying machine. But before we can start our flying machine, we've got to make space for it. So I've got a lot of digging to do. And I thought I would go ahead and take advantage of the beacons. Finally have a project where we can use the beacons. We're going to make the biggest beacon possible. So the bottom base needs to be 9 by 9. That's pretty big. That's over 2.5 stacks. So let's get going here. Look at me all beaconated. I finally got a project where I needed to use a beacon. Give myself some haste. You can see the pickaxe on the right hand side. I'll scoot over a little bit so you can see it right there in the beam. But check that out. Isn't that beam gorgeous? Goes all the way up. We can change the color if we want, but we're not going to do that right now. I'm going to show you what I've been doing. Look at all the bad guys interested in my camera account. Don't worry, camera account, I will save you. Okay, let's go heal this shovel. Oops, I'm fine. Alright, so I came out here to heal my shovel, and an Enderman got me. Actually, 3 of them attacked me. They teleport through the glass. I'm gonna have to change that up so they don't teleport out and get me. So that's why you see my levels are back to 8, but at least my tools are healed, so back to digging. Okay, we've dug out our space where we're going to put our flying machine farm. It's going to be pretty big. It'll be from about here to not quite all the way down at the end there. And I'm going to put a passive mob farm at the other end. I did a lot of research on flying machines, and I finally found one that I like. As long as you keep the width of it inside a chunk, there's no problem. Now in my creative world, it worked even with without worrying about chunks, but in this world, it definitely broke if I was outside of the chunk. But as long as the width of it is inside the chunk, you don't have to worry. It will go flying past any chunk border it comes across, no issue whatsoever. Now I've used a design that I got from FedEx Gaming. I tweaked it. I gave it its own return station, meaning you can turn on and off the ability for the flying machine to go back and forth automatically. You don't have to stand there and babysit it. How do we make sure that it stays within a chunk? Well, the easiest way that I know to find chunk borders in Bedrock, or Java for that matter, is stand on a block, and if your X and Z coordinates are both divisible by 16, evenly divisible, that is the farthest northwest corner of a chunk. So for me, this is north, and that's west. So this is the northwest corner. That means this chunk starts here and it takes 16 blocks this direction and 16 blocks this direction. And you see that sandstone over here? This starts the next chunk over. This is the northwest corner of this chunk. I originally had this thing flying from about here to about here, and it kept breaking, but it would work. It would come all the way down to here, and it would break right here, and I could not figure out why. I don't know, there's some kind of goofy something or other going on with the chunk borders. So here's the machine here. It is 14 wide, and that is a pretty good area to be taking down crops. And you can see my flying machine is exactly 1 block inside the chunk border on this side, and it's 1 block inside the chunk border on this side. I'm going to send it off. Now you can't hear it anymore. Don't worry, it's still coming. I'm just out of range of the hearing it. Now what's going to happen is, because this lamp is turned off, that means it's going to hit this return station and automatically return. Let's watch it happen. There it goes. Now let's come down here and turn this station off. Flip that switch. It's a little backwards from what you would think. It's not quite intuitive. The light is on. That means the return station is turned off. But that's okay. We can live with that. Flying machine's going to hit this return station and it knows to stop. Fantastic, isn't it? Okay, first a few basics. On a flying machine, you need a pusher and a puller. So that's why we have a sticky piston and a regular piston on each side. The reason we have 2 sides is because one set or one side goes one direction and the other set or side goes the other direction, and they each pull and push each other. The other thing to keep in mind, a piston can only move 12 blocks maximum at once. Now I could have made this flat. You see this observer here sticking up, and there's one here underneath the redstone lamp. It could have been flat, but it would have made for a longer redstone line, and I wanted to keep the redstone line as simple as possible. You can use honey blocks instead of slime blocks. I use slime blocks because I have them. I have lots of slime. I don't have but a little bit of honey, and not enough to make all of these blocks, certainly. So we have two flying machines essentially working together. One is going one way and one is going the other way. This one here on this side is going this direction, and this one here on this side is going that direction. But again, we're traveling several chunks. We're going through about 4 chunks here to get to the end. And as long as the width is within a chunk, I know it's not going to break. You see there's a little bit of a delay and then it returns. Alright, enough talking about it. Let's build it. Alright, here's everything you need to make the flying machine and the return station. To make the flying machine, we're going to use 16 slime blocks. These could be honey blocks, 2 pistons, 2 sticky pistons, and 4 observers. That will make both sides of our flying machine. The return station, I use 2 obsidian. 1 obsidian technically is all you need, but I'm just, for the sake of how it looks, I'm using 2, 6 solid blocks of any type, a redstone lamp, 1 observer, 5 redstone dust, 3 redstone repeaters, and a lever. A lever is optional. You need some way to start it. I'm going to use a lever. And then of course you need another return station at the other end, so you need twice this amount for 2 return stations. And I have that material down here ready to go. Pretty simple. The only tricky bit is the redstone. You're going to have been to the nether to get some nether quartz. Other than that, everything is pretty straightforward. Okay, I've laid out the width of our chunk here. Alternating blocks, 16 of them. Remember, this block starts the next chunk going this way, so ignore that. We're in this area here, and our machine is going to be 14 blocks long. So we're going to go from here over to here. Now what you want to do is make sure, you know, we're going to be growing things and we're going to be cutting them off at this layer right here. We need to keep this 1 block open at the bottom. So our flying machine is not going to be at this level, it's going to be at the next level above. So let's prepare a return station to stop it when it reaches here. And we're going to keep that empty, and we're going to keep this empty. So we're only working with these 14 blocks. So count in to the 5th block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put in a temporary block right there, and put in another temporary block. Put in obsidian on top of that. Now in front of the obsidian, put a temporary block and put the redstone lamp on top of that. You can remove that temporary block. Come around the back, and we put down our 6 blocks of any kind. I'm using calcite. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now in front of this calcite, this block here, put your obsidian. We need a couple more temporary blocks here. Put an observer this direction. So the arrow should be going into the obsidian. We can get rid of this block here. We can get rid of these temporary blocks. Our return station is completely built now except for the redstone. And we do the redstone last because we don't want anything to trigger. Now there's no harm because there's nothing, there's no flying machine next to it. But what we're going to do is we're going to put 3 redstone dust here, 3 repeaters, and each one of those repeaters hit 3 times and put them on 4 ticks. This will delay the signal. Redstone dust there and redstone dust there. And we're going to add a lever. You can put this on either side. You can put it over here like that, or you can put it over here like this. Doesn't matter. You can put it on the obsidian as long as it's in line with some of that redstone action. Now we'll turn that on and see how the lamp lit up. That means the return station is off. When the flying machine gets to this point, it's going to hit these obsidian blocks and stop. It is not going to go back where it came from. Now, that's your entire return station. Repeat that at the other end, just like I've done here. This is the same exact thing on the other end. Important to remember, when this is ready, get rid of these blocks here. You don't want them interfering. Something may go wonky if you leave them in the way. So take them out. We don't need them anymore. Now remember, the most important thing you can do for yourself when you're creating that second return station, see the one behind me? Make sure that that matches up with this return station here. Make sure your return stations line up. See this block here? My Z coordinate is 234. That lines up exactly with the observer on the other end. Okay, now for the flying machine itself. I've put the same pattern on this end here. We're going to build the flying machine right here. And remember, we're going to leave this space open, and we're going to leave this space open. Those are the borders of the chunk. We're going to take up the 14 blocks in between. And again, we don't want the thing to fly at the ground level. We want it to be a block higher. Okay, the flying machine. This is the easy part. We're going to put down eight slimes right there. So in the back, we're going to put in on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th block in, put in, actually, just on top here, put in a couple of temporary blocks, take that block out. You need an observer pointing straight down here, just like that. Okay, so far so good. That's funny to watch the little entity bounce up and down. Now, this same position here at this level, we want a regular piston. Just do that. Now we want an observer coming this way, and then we want a sticky piston here. Now, starting with this sticky piston, we want the next row of slime blocks. This is starting our second blade. This thing would fly right now by itself. It would fly in one direction only. That's not what we want. So put your slime block there, and then put all 8 of them out like that. Now come along behind it and jump over here. We're going to need a sticky piston here, and then put your regular piston there. Climb up on top, crouch down, and put an observer there. So on the top you see regular piston, observer pointing in to the sticky piston, and the same thing reversed. Regular piston, observer pointing in to the sticky piston. Now what we need is an observer right here facing down. And that's us done. That's our flying machine. Now again, if you have set yourself some temporary blocks down here, get them out of the way. They will interfere with the machine. There are a couple of ways you can start the machine. You can use a lever or a button. You can use a flint and steel. You can just place a block. Whatever you want to do is fine. Let's pull out a flint and steel and use that. Here we go. That's it. Now watch these plants get cut down. Oh, it's beautiful. Now you'll notice some of the plants stay on top. Now the return station has been turned off, so it's not going to return. There is some loss to this, and I'm not sure how to get rid of that. But it's only 4 or 5. Let's see. Well, 7. Okay, so maybe I picked up something else, but let's say it was 7. You know, in the scheme of things, that's not a big loss. I think it'll be all right. If it's a problem, I'll work on a workaround. And if you guys have a workaround for that, let me know. Let's send it on its way. Let's watch the redstone do its magic. I'm going to turn this end off. The light will go on. That means the station is off. Here the light is off, so that means the station is on. It's going to get here and it's going to there it goes. And that's it. That is your two-way flying machine with automatic return stations. Now what I'm going to do with this farm, I'm either going to use an etho hopper clock, or I'm going to just use a daylight sensor and have it fire off once in the morning and once at night. That's it. Hope you like it. Let me know how it works for you. Best of luck to you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.